Hey everybody, welcome back to the Whiteboard Finance Show. Today I have a young buck, Will Nazarkewich, aka the Financial Wolf. So far a couple of my guests have been in their 40s and 50s, in their 30s, and now we have someone who is 18 years old, I believe. Is that correct, Will?
Yep, 18.
Nice, man. So you are the Financial Wolf on YouTube. You have about 70,000 subscribers. It looks like you're getting about 500,000 views a month, which is awesome. And 18 years old. How did you do that, man? What is some of the content you talk about? And just introduce yourself to the audience if you don't mind.
Yeah, so my name's Will. I started YouTube about 2 years ago now, back in 2018 when I was 15 years old. When I first started, I talked a lot about like personal finance, like investing, that kind of thing. But as I went on with my channel, I started realizing that people my age don't really care too much about that. They care more about like learning how to make money, that kind of stuff. So I started kind of talking about that more, and I tried to make it as entertaining as possible. So on my channel, I do things all the way from like talking about like Bitcoin mining to like different side hustles that you can do to make money.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that Bitcoin mining video blow up, and then you shared with me privately. It kind of like waned off. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, so it randomly just like stopped getting views for a day and then it went right back up, which is kind of weird. But I think YouTube was just making sure that like the video wasn't any sort of scam, because you know how there's like a lot of scams and like Bitcoin and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. The crypto world is definitely kind of scammy. So tell us about your evolution, and also the reason I started this podcast is to help younger people such as yourself kind of get into entrepreneurship and investing. There's gonna be a lot of flavors on the show, but tell us about how Will at 15 versus Will now, 3 years later. How have you kind of matured and grown, and would you still do YouTube today if you were starting out at like 15 years old again?
Oh, absolutely. So when I first started, I was actually doing like an iPhone reselling business. So I would flip stuff on Craigslist. So I was talking about that a bit, and also, a little bit about investing. So in the beginning, it was just like documenting what I was doing, like showing my path. I didn't really care if people watched it or not, because YouTube was really more of like a side thing. But as I like kept going, I realized, I really, really like this. And I started kind of learning like how can you get views on YouTube, like what does well. And I was watching, a lot of other YouTubers do well in our niche. So I was learning a lot as I went and just trying to improve the content really.
That's awesome. I love your content because you have a very original take on things. So, a million people have made the, 6 ways teens can make money online and stuff like that. But you really do like a real life example, which I love. I think your most popular video is the one where you're selling candy at school for a week. So
Uh-huh.
tell us a little bit about why you think that has, got so many views. It has about 1 million views right now.
Yeah, so I could go really far into that. So basically, I made that video because throughout high school, from freshman year on, I was always the kid who liked to sell candy, and it was something I really, really enjoyed doing. I mean, it doesn't make a ton of money, but it's really fun. It's a nice way to make money at school. So I was like, you know what? Let me film it. I literally brought a camera to school and just filmed myself selling candy to everyone. And the video blew up, I think, because I have never seen another person on YouTube do something like that. So it's kind of a creative out on things. And after I made that video, actually, the principals at my school got really, really mad. It's like they were really pissed that like I
Why?
was like putting our school on the internet and all this stuff. So they kept like yelling at me for selling candy at school. But because the video got so many views, I kept making like more of them. And I also made a video where like I would go to like other schools during like our basketball games and I would sell candy there. So yeah, it was definitely a interesting experience, but it really helped my channel a lot.
That's awesome. So a funny note, when I was in high school as well, even in middle school, actually, I started making, so you probably don't remember this, but the older listeners will remember like Napster and Kazaa and LimeWire. So basically the Eminem show leaked out when I was in like sixth or seventh grade. This was like a really anticipated Eminem album. And man, I don't want to say this online because I don't want to like incriminate myself, but let's just say I was making mixtape CDs, right? And I
Uh-huh.
had it before, the original songs would come out, and I would sell those at lunch for like 3, 4, $5 a pop. And then I remember I also sold Pokemon cards. So this was when I was like 11, 12. This was like 20, 21 years ago, dude. Now it's funny to see it making a resurgence again. And I see
Yeah.
that you have some of those videos on your channel as well. Can you tell us about that side hustle?
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of got into it again from like all the Logan Paul videos on it, and then I saw some other finance creators make videos. So I started doing these like videos where I would buy packs from online and see if I could get more valuable cards from the packs than actually like, what the packs are worth.
Hmm.
So I did a couple videos on that, just more to show that Pokemon can be an investment nowadays, which is really crazy. Like, it's crazy that you can like buy a card from like so long ago and it appreciates over time. So, I started making some videos on that. I opened like some older packs and videos, and I got some decent cards. It was something fun to do.
How are you selling those? Are you doing like eBay? Are you holding on to them? Or do you think there's gonna be a future for this market? Or do you think it's kind of like a YouTube trend?
It was more of a YouTube trend. I bought some to like hold for long term and just kind of show that Pokemon can be an investment. But I did actually sell some like on a YouTube live stream to like some of my subscribers. So I did kind of a box break like Logan Paul, but with a much cheaper booster box. And I let people like buy packs from the website, and then I would open their packs and like send them the cards. That was a lot of fun.
Nice. So what is like, this may be kind of like a huge overarching question, especially at 18 years old, but in terms of like higher education and what you want to do with your life, like, are you a senior in high school now, or are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you plan on going, like, what are your thoughts on higher education from someone that's 18 years old? I'm interested to hear about that, because mine is different. I went to a traditional, 4-year bachelor's degree. It's like, what do I do after high school? I guess you go to college, right? It's the thing you're supposed to do. So what are your thoughts, and what are some of your peers' thoughts about like higher education, college, things like that?
So believe it or not, this is actually not something I think about too often. I kind of just live in the moment a lot of times with YouTube and stuff. But my plan as of right now is I'm probably going to go to college, and then I'm going to continue doing YouTube unless, it keeps doing better and better. Then I'll probably, see from there. But I think long term, I want to start some sort of business outside of YouTube. And I think college is a good way to meet people. I don't have obviously I have no experience with like going to college and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure how that's going to go, but I think I'm probably going to go.
Nice. Yeah, because I feel like, especially by the time, I have kids, by the time they're your age, it's like, who knows what college is even going to look like, because I learned a lot of the stuff I learned online just simply through, Googling and, YouTubing and, all that stuff. So it's interesting. I think technology, and I think the internet is going to be a big kind of like equalizer for everyone to be able to get the same amount of knowledge. You don't have to go to these like Ivy League schools to, it's more of a networking thing at that point.
Because I don't think I've learned anything that I've used to make money in school. Like, absolutely nothing. Actually, the only way I've made money at school is making videos of me selling candy at school.
Got it. So what is your most lucrative side hustle out of all the stuff you've experimented with? I know you've done like online gambling. I know you've done like cards. You've done everything, dude. Like, you crack me up.
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. Probably would still be reselling stuff on Craigslist. Like, it's super easy. Like, a lot of times just like lowballing works, reaching out to a bunch of different people that have stuff to sell and just like offer them cash on the spot to resell on Craigslist. That was probably like the most lucrative thing I've done. I've resold like sneakers, hype beast kind of shoes. That's a really good business to get into. And then obviously YouTube is, great side hustle also.
Yeah, the sneaker stuff blew up. I want to say it started like 10 years ago when I was probably like early 20s. And then I thought it was going to lose steam. I really did. I thought it was just kind of like a, spur of the moment, flavor of the month kind of a thing. But it's still super popular. Tell us a little bit about that. Why do you think that, the sneakers for what they sell for in the store versus what they sell aftermarket, third party, why is that difference so big? Is it just supply and demand?
Yeah, because like a lot of times with like Yeezys, they only have like a super limited amount that they drop on their website. So if you're able to get them, you can literally resell like a $200 pair of sneakers for like $1,000. So it's like the next day you can just sell them for like $800 profit. The only thing is it's super hard to get the sneakers because a lot of people have like full blown like bot setups to get shoes. So they'll get like 10 pairs of them because they have like bots that will like immediately go into the website on like 20 different accounts or like 100 different accounts. So it's a really competitive business, but if you can, get lucky a couple times, it's a really easy way to make some money.
Yeah, for sure. I remember people would stand in line, man. I'm from Cleveland, man. People were getting shot over sneakers, like for real, like in the hood. And it's kind of like, is it worth it? But I mean, now it's a new day and age with like the bots and everything. You kind of just like scalp your way through the line and just snag them up. So,
I'm not sure if they still do that with like the long lines. I'm sure in like larger cities, probably.
Yeah. This is like back in the day, but I think that's interesting. So out of everything that you've done with the like scalping or whatever, where do you think you're gonna like go towards naturally in entrepreneurship? Because you seem like a creative type, and you don't strike me, and I may be speaking out of line, but you don't strike me as someone that would love sitting in a classroom for 4 years to get a degree. I guess what business would
No.
you start outside of YouTube, or what's kind of like, what are you going towards?
Honestly, I think long term, like it's funny because my YouTube channel started growing because I could never figure out what business I wanted to do. So my channel just became me doing a bunch of random stuff. And then people started liking watching me just do a bunch of random stuff. So that's the thing. It's like the reason I'm kind of successful on YouTube is because I have no idea what I'm doing. So well, not no idea what I'm doing, but like I try like something different every week. So it's hard to say like what business I want to go into long term, but I've thought about doing like some sort of like reselling business long term and kind of just like showing that on my YouTube channel. Like I plan to get into Amazon FBA pretty soon.
Hmm.
So I'm probably going to do some videos on that. And no, long term, honestly, I really just want to get the channel as large as I can.
Nice. Where do you get the inspiration for your videos? Because I know you're kind of all over the place. You're similar to me. I talk about, entrepreneurship, stock market investing, real estate, crypto. I'm all over the place as well. Where do you get the inspiration for your next video?
Yeah, a lot of like YouTubers that kind of inspire me aren't even in the finance niche. Like I really like Mr. Beast. Like I think his videos are awesome. And my goal is to eventually like get a large enough channel where I could do crazy videos like that. So that's kind of my goal. I want to make like Mr. Beast type content, but in the financial niche.
Yeah.
That's
For
mhm.
sure. Yeah, his videos are expensive to make because he's the ones that's buying like $1 million worth of lottery tickets and like filling up pools with like different, like bouncy balls and stuff. He's funny though. I
Yeah.
think that there's definitely a big future in just being, I mean, I know there is because, it's my full-time gig.
Mhm.
I think you disclosed in one of your videos that you're making roughly, 6, 7 grand a month, at
Mhm.
age 17, 18 years old. I think that's awesome because a lot of adults, that's what their full-time income is, let alone
Yeah.
someone that's kind of just, side hustling and making videos on the side. Where are those sources of income coming from, and where do you plan on like gravitating more towards? Like, is it affiliate marketing? Is it ad revenue? You want to dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, compared to a lot of other creators, I don't make too much because I don't push like a lot of affiliates in my videos. It's pretty much all ad revenue. Like in a month, like in January, I'm probably gonna do about 500,000 views. From that, it's gonna be about $5,000 in ad revenue.
That's awesome.
Then from affiliates, stuff like that, usually it's not more than $1,000 a month, which I feel like I could be doing a much better job kind of diversifying my income when it comes to YouTube. But I'm working on that. So I plug like the free stocks, that kind of stuff, but pretty much just ad revenue. And then I make some money, maybe at max like $1,000 a month from like the side hustles I show in my videos, like reselling sneakers and flipping phones and drop shipping.
Yeah, I mean that's still a great income for 18,
Oh
man. I
yeah.
mean, people used to. I used to when I was 18. I was a bus boy at TGI Fridays.
Mhm.
I worked at a pizza shop, and I was a bus boy. And then I'm like, I'm going to college. Screw this. I worked at bars. I was a bartender, but that was all like cash business under the table. You get $100 a night, $150 a night, which is
Mhm.
great. But imagine doing it passively to where you don't have to stay up till 3 in the morning closing a bar. You know what I mean? It's like at
Yeah.
your age, you're crushing it, man. That's awesome.
It's definitely
Um,
nice.
yeah, what would be your message to any like aspiring, not even YouTubers, but people that are just trying to go into entrepreneurship, maybe earn their own money themselves? Kind of, what is your inspiration for even starting any of this stuff? Because you don't go into it with a guaranteed income. Your income is zero until something happens, right?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's just I don't have a fear to just try as much stuff as possible. Like, I feel like a lot of people like overthink when they want to go into a business, like, oh, I need this, I need like all these different things. And I think it's best to just take it one step at a time, learn by doing, try it out. And if you don't like it, you can always try something else later. So that's just what I've been doing. Like throughout the past 2 years, I've probably tried so many different side hustles. A few of them I've liked, a few of them have lost me a lot of money. And I think it's just best to try a bunch of different things and something will work out eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's true. I think at least my journey to at least going full time on YouTube was just like eating a lot of crap, all these hours, all these like,
Mhm.
nights and weekends because I was working a full time job. And it's like, you're just like, why am I even doing this? It's like, oh, then you go back to your original why. It's like, okay, I want to help people, want to spread financial literacy. And then something happens to where as long as you keep like putting out good value and good content, I think the algorithm, recognizes that. And then also just people start to see that you have like good intentions and something just clicks.
Yeah.
And I think in any business, man, like 9 out of 10 businesses typically fail. But when you find that 1 out of 10, that's the thing that really sets you apart in terms of like building wealth and stuff like that. So I guess to piggyback off that in terms of building wealth, what are you investing in anything? Do you have a portfolio? I don't remember following you on that, but what
Yeah.
does your pie kind of look like? I always talk about the financial pie. Are you all equities? Are you all Bitcoin? Are you all gold? What is your portfolio looking like?
Yeah, so pretty much every month I'll save about 20% of like my ad revenue into like a brokerage account. That's up to about $15,000 now. And
Nice.
then I have some Bitcoin. And then the rest is really just cash because I do spend quite a bit on videos. So, obviously have to have money for that. And my Bitcoin investment, I started buying around like 15,000 when I made like my first videos on it. I have probably like $5,000 now worth of Bitcoin.
Nice. So you doubled up, like quick little
Yeah.
100% return. Nice, man.
Yeah. Not like you who started buying at like what, 3,000 or
Yeah,
something
well,
crazy?
I bought a big tranche at 3,000. I started, I want to say right after I read the Bitcoin Standard. That was like December, January-ish. I want to say
Mhm.
December of 19, January of 20. And I started dollar cost averaging. And then when it dropped down, I think on like March 12th of this, or last year, excuse me, when COVID and all that stuff hit, I bought a big tranche at like, I think it was like 4 or 5 grand, right around there. And then I've been
Mhm.
dollar cost averaging ever since. Have you dug deep into Bitcoin at all, or are you kind of just jumping on the hype train here? I'm not saying that like
Gotta be honest.
disparagingly. I'm just
Gotta be
being, yeah,
honest. I just jumped on the hype. Like I
yeah.
know the potential for it to be like a world currency. My only concerns about that though is like I know like a lot of larger countries like the United States and like a lot of European countries wouldn't want that because it takes away control.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't know. The
Yeah,
chances of that happening, I feel like are somewhat slim, but maybe.
yeah, we'll see. I feel like this is almost like the third podcast in a row that I've talked about this. I feel like
Oh, really?
mass adoption with Bitcoin comes through regulation, even though I hate to say that because it kind of defeats the purpose of why it was created in the first place.
Mhm.
But it could be a double-edged sword. It's like they regulate it, great. Now institutional money can get into it. Mass adoption. Our grandparents probably aren't going to use it. Probably not even our parents, but our generation and younger, millennials all the way to your generation, they may start to adopt it. But anyway, I don't want to go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole again. That'd be like the third podcast in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What else are you looking at? Any speculative plays? Any juicy SPACs? Any YOLO calls? Anything like that? Are you spending any time on Wall Street bets?
Ooh, actually, I did recently mess around with stock options, but that's not in like my main portfolio. That's like a little like $3,000 Robinhood portfolio I have. So I was doing some stock options, didn't go so well. And then my main like portfolio is just mainly like blue chip stocks. And then I have like a Roth IRA where I have like, just some index funds. But in
Nice.
the options account, I did a video where like I paid someone on Fiverr to give me options trading signals and I just copied the signals they gave me. Terrible. I should have done the exact opposite of everything they told me.
Well, there you go. Just do the opposite next time and you'll make money.
Yeah.
Did you see all this stuff going on with GameStop with Wall Street bets and GameStop?
Oh,
How it just
yeah. It went
straight
up
hockey stick?
60%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 Dang, I'm gonna do a video where I just copy Wall Street bets for a week or something. That
That
would be fun.
that'd be funny. Yeah, that's what I like about your channel. You don't see my stuff is kind of like it's not boring, but it's kind of like, should you invest or pay off your mortgage or, the 50-30-20 rule, stuff like that. Your stuff is like super creative, which is fun. But yeah, in terms of like your friends, do they watch you at all? Do people even know you're a YouTuber? Like how does that even work being in high school?
Yeah, so at first like people thought it was kind of weird. Like people would just like I'd be like in class and then like someone just like pulls up my YouTube channel and they like blast my video like on loud. That would piss me off so much. But then like after a while like as it just kind of kept going I started like actually getting views on my channel, people started, kind of liking it, I guess. And I have some friends who like, help me out with videos, like they're in some of my challenges, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Nice. So does being a YouTuber make you like more popular? Like I'm coming at from this like an old man, dude. Like I have no idea. I'm married, like
I would say yes nowadays because like I actually have like a good amount of subscribers. So like I guess people are like somewhat more interested in it. Like they want to ask me like, oh, how do you start a channel? That kind of stuff. And also the teachers at my school kind of like know me pretty well because like I'll film all the time like at school and it makes people really mad. Like I did a video not that long ago where I was like reselling shoes and like I was like in my school just like filming a video of like me trying to like get these like new shoes online. So like I guess like it's just like a fun thing to do.
nice. That's cool. Yeah, I think that with your generation, I think everyone wants to kind of like be a YouTuber or be some
Mhm.
sort of like social media influencer. Let's talk about the stuff like, do you ever get like, because you and I talked about this privately, do you ever get like burnt out, or do you feel like you're kind of just like chasing views, or you're just kind of making stuff for the algorithm?
Yes, definitely. So like there's a lot of videos like I feel like I make that I don't even want to make. I just think will do really well. And at the end of the day, they're just like random videos I think will do well. And it kind of I feel like hurts my brand a little bit instead of just like sticking with content that I believe in. Cause I think you do that very well. Cause like you'll only talk about things if you're like, I think this will bring like a ton of value, stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just, to be honest, like my channel was meant to be like everything that I kind of did in my life. So I
Mhm.
sold cars, so I have a bunch of car videos. Worked at a bunch of banks, so I have a bunch of like analysis videos and stuff like that. Worked in commercial real estate, so I talk a little bit about that. But I also feel like I'm a little bit all over the place too, because it's like,
Mhm.
how did this guy know about this? It's like either he's like making it up, or he doesn't have like the real world experience, which is fine. You don't have to have that to make a good video. But I'm just talking about stuff that I've done in my life. If I didn't do it, or if I'm not confident about it, like I can't make a video on it, just because I feel like it would be a little bit like disingenuous. But
Yeah.
I feel like that like creator burnout is kind of like a real thing, man, just because once it becomes your full-time income, especially if you have like debt and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of people are making like the wrong decisions. They're putting out stuff just for like the money or for the income, as
Yeah.
opposed to kind of just like, okay, I'm staying true to my brand. I'm going to build a long-term brand. What are some of your, like, what is your ultimate vision for your brand? Because I know you're making stuff that, a bunch of different videos. Do you have like a long term, like, oh, this is going to be Financial Wolf digital media company? Like, do you have a long term vision, or are you kind of just having fun with it?
Honestly, I'm having fun with it, but at the end of the day, like I eventually do want to hit like 1 million subscribers. Like I want to have like a really, really large channel, but the path to get there is definitely going to be difficult. So I have to figure out like what like my move is for like the long term. So right now I'm just like doing a bunch of challenges that I think will be entertaining and maybe give people some value.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of
yeah,
like that.
I'm
It's
really
kind of like
just
that. Sorry to interrupt. It's kind of like that Mr. Beast like
yeah.
challenge, but shift it towards like finance or entrepreneurship kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's
Um,
my goal with it, but it's weird because like for my channel when I first started, like I had 1,000 subscribers for like the first 2 years, and then I randomly went from like 1,000 to 20,000 in like a month. So it's like weird. Like I'm kind of at this place where it's like I had this steady growth, had this huge growth spurt, and then now I'm just having this like kind of like steady growth again. So I'm waiting to kind of figure out how I can get to that next level.
yeah, that next plateau. What would be
Mhm.
some tips for like aspiring YouTubers or kids that are in your position that want to start YouTube?
I think the reason that I was successful with YouTube over like other businesses that I did is I never really gave up. I had a lot of fun doing it. And like, I feel like if you really have a passion for it, it's like you're going to do it regardless if you're getting views or not.
Hmm.
So, my tips would just be to be consistent, continuously try to improve the content quality of your videos, like make something that people actually want to watch. And I think that's really the key, just like really always trying to improve something. Cause if you look at like videos even I made like 2 months ago versus now, they're always getting better.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. And the thing is, like, for anybody listening right now, you don't have to like put the cart before the horse. You don't need like $1 million camera or studio or anything like that. Like this looks nice, but really this is, this backdrop was $80. The thing that's holding it was like $100. Like, yes, I have like the mixer and stuff like that. That's when you start kind of really trying to improve the quality, like the microphone and things like that. But you can definitely start a YouTube channel with a DSLR camera or even a cell phone. Everyone's got a cell
Yeah.
phone now. So yeah, going back to my thesis of like, the internet or technology is kind of like the great equalizer. It's like as long as you have
Yeah.
an internet connection and a will and a, something not even intelligent to say, but at least as long as you're entertaining, I think you can definitely make a, quote unquote business or at least a career out of it. Where do you see like YouTube being like, because think about it, it started in 2006. It's
Yeah.
2021. Where do you see YouTube in like 5 years? Do you see this being like the next cable television? Everyone has it on in their home, which people already do. Or do you see it like going away to like virtual reality, the next new thing? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So this is actually something I think about a lot because I feel like if I knew YouTube would be like around forever, I would 100% like be always full into YouTube and stuff. But the thing is, it's like you never know because like MySpace was huge not that long ago, and now it's like you can't even use MySpace anymore.
Yep.
But I think YouTube's a little bit different because it's owned by Google, like a very, very large company. It's a massive search engine. I think YouTube will be around long term, but it's like you never know. Like, what do you think? Do you think you'll be a YouTuber for like the next 20 years?
That's a great question. So going back to and I wanted to piggyback off what you said earlier about kind of like making videos for the algorithm and kind of being
Mhm.
beholden to like ad revenue. Like you said, like, oh, I
Yeah.
could, crush it in affiliates and stuff like that, which you're 100% right about. So I think as long as you diversify your, not only your income, but also like where you make that income. So right now, like almost my entire income is driven by views. Like, yes, I have, affiliate income. Yes, I have ad revenue. Yes, I have sponsored, posts.
Mhm.
But if you don't have any views, all of that stuff goes down. It's almost like the tide raising all the ships, right? So I think that as long as you kind of quote unquote own your audience, meaning like taking them onto your own platforms, such as like a blog or like an email list, for example, that's when I think people will really kind of stick around with you as long as you keep providing value. And that way you're not like beholden to the YouTube algorithm, right? So
Yeah.
to your point, that's why I'm doing stuff like, this podcast, because this I can distribute on its own. It doesn't need to live on YouTube, even though these video versions of these interviews will live on YouTube. But I also have, a website. I'm also trying to, continue the main YouTube channel. But on top of all this, I want to start my own school, Whiteboard Finance
Mhm.
University. And that's not just like a random plug. There's a point to all this ramble. But I think when you start the university and kind of have like your own community in there within it, that's when you kind of like have your like super fans that'll stick around because you're providing good value. You're engaging with them with live streams. They have a community aspect to it, and you don't have to be beholden to that YouTube algorithm and pray that like, oh, Google, please, distribute this video
Yeah.
to a lot of people, right? So I think like as long as you distribute and you're kind of like well diversified, I think that's the way to kind of level everything out. It's just like investing, right? It's you
Mhm.
invest in a bunch of different things. One thing goes up, the other thing goes down. You end up somewhere in the middle, hopefully up and to the right, right?
Yeah, and that's why I've also been starting to in 2021 like do some other social media platforms because in 2020 I was like terrible. Like I would post on YouTube like twice a week and then like on Instagram I think I posted like 4 posts the entire year. Didn't make any TikToks. So like this year I'm starting to get into doing stuff like that. And TikTok is crazy. Like I think if you want to be a YouTube creator in 2021, you got to start on TikTok because like I made a couple TikToks and they all already get more views than my YouTube videos, which is kind of
Wow.
funny.
Dude,
Like
that's
I get like
I'm
yeah.
so behind the eight ball on TikTok because I'm like, dude, I see people like, dancing and like giving investment
Yeah.
advice. I'm like, dude, what is this, dude? This is like clown world. But at the same time, I think that there's you can be taken very seriously as well. So it's kind of like whatever you want it to be, right? You don't need to necessarily
Yeah.
dance and like say like, oh, 1700% ROI, buy this penny stock, and you're like doing a little
Yeah.
jig, right?
Oh god,
So,
the TikTok stock picks are terrible. It's
dude,
like buy this stock, like penny stock. I'm like, oh god.
there's a Twitter account that I follow called TikTok Investors, and it's basically a
Uh-huh.
highlight reel of all the worst investment advice given on TikTok. It's so funny, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, check that out when you get a chance. But yeah, tell us a little bit about TikTok. I feel like everybody's on it. My buddy Ryan Scribner, he's like crushing it
Mhm.
on there. I'm going to interview Humphrey Yang, I believe is his last name. He's crushing it on TikTok. I haven't really started. Like, what are your thoughts on TikTok?
Yeah, so I've just kind of been doing like some random videos. Like I did a video a while ago where I was like I went on this like mystery box website where you like can either get a really really good prize from a mystery box or something that's like a Rolex or like just like kind of fun stuff like that. So I feel like my content kind of does well on TikTok because it's like mostly entertainment. So I made a couple TikToks. I think I'm getting more views per day right now on TikTok. I've been doing it for like 5 days than I am on
Wow.
YouTube. So
Wow.
I don't know. I'm getting like I've been able to get like 20,000 views like a day these last few days.
How do you monetize TikTok? I know some people get paid from it, but is it like Patreon to where people donate to you, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's this thing. I'm not in it yet because I think you need 10,000 followers on TikTok. It's something called the Creator Fund, but it's terrible. Like YouTube CPMs, like in the finance niche, is like $10 to $20 per thousand views,
Hmm.
whereas with TikTok, I think it's like 2 to 4 cents.
2 to 4 cents per thousand. Is it kind of like a law of large numbers? Like you're getting millions of views, so it kind of averages out, or do you think
Yeah.
like YouTube is still the way to go?
YouTube's definitely still the way to go, but I think to get that organic growth it's very easy on TikTok. I think Graham Stephan, he mentioned a while ago, he has like a TikTok with 15 million views. I think it made him like $700.
700 bucks, dude. If I had a 15 million view video on YouTube, that would be, if I just do quick math, let's just say it's, I don't know, right now. Well, right now I'm crushing it because my stock market for beginners videos like
Yeah.
completely blowing up, and that's a high CPM. Let's just say my CPM is, 20 bucks. Yeah, dude, that's nothing. $700. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're
YouTube is
talking like 200 grand versus $700.
yeah, that's not. I think it's a good
Crazy.
way to get exposure, but from an income standpoint, yeah, it's tough. Unless, of course, you're driving views to your own product. I think that the way
Yeah.
creators and for the people listening to this, if they're still sticking around, thank you. We're about half an hour into this. I think that the way that I used to use YouTube, similar to how you're using it now, is like, okay, I create a good video, I get views, I get ad revenue, right?
Mhm.
Now I'm focusing that shift for YouTube being like the top of my sales funnel. So if you create a lot of good
Yeah.
value, you drive them down into your product, right? Which is going to be Whiteboard Finance University. So I think that as long as you provide value and you kind of keep mentioning like your school or your product or your course or whatever you may be, selling, I think that's a more effective way of using YouTube for the exposure rather than like hoping for the, ad revenue.
And that's actually something I'm planning on kind of doing too. Not a course that I'm going to make, but I'm going to try Amazon FBA in a couple weeks, and I'm going to be collabing with a different YouTuber who has a course. So basically, I'm just going to show me like using the course, like trying to make money with it.
Hmm.
And if people are also interested, I'll probably like do some sort of affiliate with the course. So hopefully, that can kind of start diversifying my income and kind of be a way for me to not only focus on like ad revenue, stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you were going to create a course in the future, do you have any aspirations of doing that? And if so, what would it be about?
It would probably be about like Craigslist flipping, stuff like that. I've thought about it, but I don't think that's going to be coming in like the next few months at least, just because I have like a few other things that I'm planning on doing, like this affiliate thing with Amazon FBA. I'm excited to get into that. And then, yeah.
Nice. Do you feel like, because I was looking at Amazon FBA, I actually created a bird feeder. So I sourced it from China.
Okay.
So it was like a window bird feeder. Dude, I went through like almost like patents and stuff like that. And I decided to pull the plug at the last second. I'll explain why in a second here. But I called it Nature's Window. So basically, it's 3 suction cups on the back of like plexiglass, right? And you put the bird seed down in the tray below. So you put
Uh-huh.
the suction cups outside, but on your window. So the birds fly up and eat, and they're literally like a foot away from you. So if you're like windows, close to like your sink or your kitchen table or whatever, you can literally watch the birds. It's pretty cool. It sounds super corny, but it's cool. So I went through that whole process, and I realized like Amazon, at least for that specific product, was just like a race to zero. Meaning like if I'm making like, I don't know, $10 a unit or $6 a unit, the guy that already has like a million reviews and a million, like positive 5-star reviews, and he's like the #1 search engine result on Amazon, he just lowers his price by, $3-4, and there goes my margins, right? It doesn't even make sense to
Yeah.
do it, right? So like, have you considered, you don't have to give a specific product in mind or anything like that, but have you looked at any certain like categories, or have you looked into the numbers?
So what you're talking about is like selling like individual product, creating your own product. That's called private label on Amazon.
Yeah,
What I want to do is called FBA, and I'm going to be reselling. So basically, I'm going to be doing like retail arbitrage from like Target, Walmart, that kind of stuff.
got
So
it.
I'm going to be sending like that to Amazon to fulfill. So it'll be a little bit easier than that. I have heard people make a lot of money from like private label, stuff like that. It is probably way more profitable, but in terms of like being easy to get into, reselling is obviously way easier.
Got it. Yeah, because I looked into that. I heard a lot of people like they would go to these like Salvation Armies or like the
Mhm.
donation places, and it's like the employees would just take the best stuff for themselves. Or like if you're working at
Yeah.
like a not like a TJ Maxx, but what's another one? Like you have like a beat I forgot, dude. I forgot all these places, but they would go into like, buy sneakers there, and it just seems like a lot of
Ross.
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ross stores, exactly. It just seems like a lot of work, and you're almost like hoping that you're gonna find a deal there. It's like you don't know that there's gonna be a deal there, right?
Yeah. I mean, I actually do know someone. I think he makes like $40,000 a month doing that, but I think he travels throughout the US and he knows like exactly what products to look for. So I think if you know the right things to look for, you can make a lot of money, but it's more just like a side hustle, I
Got
would
it.
say.
Got it. So I see the, I meant to bring this up earlier in the conversation. I see that Wolf of Wall Street poster behind you. Is that why you called your channel The Financial Wolf, or are you just like a fan
Yeah.
of wolves? Like, what is the?
So I was 15 when I made the channel. So yeah, I don't know. I like the movie. So I was like, what can I name my YouTube channel? And I just like named it like the first thing I thought of. Probably should have put some more thought into it, but it's okay.
No, I like it. I think that's pretty cool. What was your favorite scene in the movie?
Um, I don't know. I like the scene where he's on the plane. You know, when he parties on the private jet and like he has the weekend for like his bachelor's party.
Yeah, yeah,
That's like a
yeah.
funny movie. Have you watched it?
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, I
It's
used to work in finance,
interesting.
man. Like when I was a little bit younger than you, I had an internship at a big insurance company. I'm not going to say who it is, but
Mhm.
people listening to this that know about their internships, they already
Yeah.
know who I'm talking about. So that was all we did, man. Smiled and dialed. We literally just smiled and dialed all day long, and
Mhm.
it was terrible. I hated it, but it was probably the best sales experience outside of selling cars for sure. When I graduated, it was December of 2010. That was after the great financial crisis,
Mhm.
and no one was hiring, dude. It was like I had a finance degree. You know, I speak two languages. It's like I did internships. I did everything you're supposed to do, right? Got, you know, decent grades, good
Yeah.
grades. And it's like, sorry. So I ended up selling cars, man, outside of college. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this is not what I want to do. So it was fun because that was really good experience though. And I suggest anyone still listening right now, like if you can get a sales job or a call center job, you know, making sales calls, you'll get you'll get a master's degree in sales in 1 year. I swear. It's like
Yeah.
because everyone thinks like you're lying to them. You know, everyone's got their like guard up, like, oh, this is some car salesman. He's lying to me. So it just really it gets you better at understanding people and kind of hearing them out, if that makes sense.
I used to actually want to be like an investment banker. That's why I really like that movie. Like I wanted to do like the Wall Street stuff, but I feel like as I kind of got more into YouTube, like I really like making my own schedule, like working for myself, doing that stuff. So that kind of changed my mind, just like making money on YouTube. It's like it's so much more fun to just like make your own schedule, not have anyone tell you what to do versus like working on Wall Street doing that kind of stuff. That used to be my goal, but I think now I really just want to like focus on like having some sort of my own business.
Yeah, for sure. And you're a super creative type. A lot of those guys, because I worked in commercial mortgage-backed securities. I did
Mhm.
commercial mortgage lending. So not like single homes, single family homes. I did like big, you know, 20, 30,
Mhm.
40 million dollar buildings. And that was all through either like commercial mortgage-backed securities. So we're working with people on Wall Street. We're working with like life insurance companies that are buying these, that are making the loans for these big commercial
Okay.
mortgage properties. Um, excuse me, commercial real estate properties. So the thing is, when I worked like in that environment, it's very similar to Wolf of Wall Street. It's like, you know, Sunday through basically Friday night, you know, you're working crazy amount of hours, basically 12 hours a day. You feel burnt out all the time. It's like you don't have time for your like significant other. You don't have time to work out. You're kind of just like, you know, always on the go, right?
Mhm.
And those guys made a lot of money. My boss was in his mid 20s at the time. He was making like 400 or 500 grand a year. Okay. And
Wow.
I was a little bit older than him. I was thinking I was like 29 or 30 at the time. And I asked him, I'm like, you know, because this is when I put in my 2 weeks. I actually ended up working at another bank called Key Bank. So I put in my 2 weeks to get out of that job. I was just working way too much. I was miserable. I hated it. And I asked him, I'm like, dude, when is enough enough? Meaning like the money. You know,
Yeah.
he's like, well, what else am I going to do? He's like, I don't have any friends anyway. I swear to God, that was his response. I'll never forget that. And that's when it was like a big wake up call for me. And I knew this before then, but this was just really like the real life example that kind of made me realize like these dudes are, most of them are sociopaths. Most of them just want to take all the money they can.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I'm painting with a broad brush here, but I'll die on this hill that like, you have to realize that time and family is way and health is way more important than money. And I think that's kind of, I don't want to lose that message or that voice, no matter how successful or unsuccessful I am. And also, you know, with you and your channel, I think it's as influencers, we have to be super like careful with what we put out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like I used to like my only goal, like I didn't care. Like I just wanted to make a crap ton of money. But like I
Yeah.
feel like at this point, it's like honestly, like I pretty much make enough money where I feel like I could be happy at this point and kind of like I mean, obviously, I would want to make more, but it's just so cool to be able to like do what you like and also make like a livable wage.
And get
Like
paid
that's
for
so
it. Yeah.
much better because like I mean, I wouldn't want to work like 40 years to be able to retire at 60 to finally have time off versus just doing what you like throughout your entire life. Like, I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also I feel like you and I have similar personalities. I feel like most YouTubers are. We have that creative niche, obviously, or that itch. Otherwise we wouldn't have gone into YouTube in the first place, right? This is, I still edit all my videos. I still record everything. I don't have a team that works for me, nor do I really want to at this point because it's easy. And it's fun. I have fun when I edit my videos. I have fun when I put stuff together. So I think that scratching that creative itch and then still getting paid for it, I think as long as you're putting value into society, whether, you're a mortgage banker, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're a, cleaning lady, it doesn't matter. As long as you're producing value and getting paid for it, I think that's fair. Do we all want to make more money? Obviously. That's why, we invest. That's why we create videos. That's why we do all that stuff. But I think that you can do all that too without having to, like, quote unquote, sell your soul. So, I'm not trying to get too heavy. I think it's like 12 in the afternoon, but that's kind of my stance on that. So we're coming up at about like 40 minutes here. I always ask my guests towards the end of the show, what is one book that you would recommend? It can be fiction, nonfiction, doesn't matter. What do you recommend?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't read.
That's okay.
I don't really read books.
So I guess a resource. What is a resource that you would recommend?
I mean, I did read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was probably one of my favorite books ever. Like, that's actually, I can't really say that because I think that's the only book I ever read. But yeah,
that's a great book. It's a great book to read, dude. So what was your biggest takeaway from Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I really like the thought of, like, instead of working for money, try to figure out like how to produce income through investments and kind of figure things out that way.
Yeah, assets and liabilities. Nice. Okay. Where can people reach you other than obviously your YouTube channel is The Financial Wolf? Are you on any other social media?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and then I have a Discord chat where I just like talk to subscribers, stuff like that.
Nice. Very cool, man. Well, thank you, Will. Thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed this conversation. Hopefully the younger bucks that listen to my podcast can learn from you. You're doing a great job at 18, man. Hopefully you have continued success, and I wish you the best, man.
Thanks.
Awesome.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Whiteboard Finance Show. To read more about today's episode, visit whiteboardfinance.com. And don't forget to subscribe to Whiteboard Finance on YouTube. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Investing of any kind involves risk. While it is possible to minimize your risk, your investments are solely your responsibility. This show is copyrighted by Zlatic Media LLC. Written permissions must be granted before syndication or broadcasting.